Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge here with more Riftbound Unleashed commentary. So there's another deck I'm going to be exploring this set, and that is Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix has some pretty strong similarities in playstyle to Lucian, and I certainly don't mind getting to play purple again. I played a lot of purple in set 1, and I love those movement tools. And I think this deck is quite strong. I think this deck is very, very good. Um, so this is from the first locals I took it to. I ended up winning this locals, and this is against one of the like worst matchups for the deck, which is Vex, because like ambushes get turned off, accelerates get turned off. You can't like put something into play and like Void Assault or Ride the Wind it in, or First Mate it for it to immediately be active, and like they're unlikely to leave stuff online alone. So Purple Kha'Zix isn't able to get quite as much value. And my opponent goes first too. They have the Banner Tree for multiple hiddens. I have Star Spring, very powerful new battlefield that when you play a non-token unit to it the first time each turn, you get to move another unit at that battlefield back to your base. Very powerful. We're not going to get to do it here, but like one of the lines you can do with it is move in Fey Folk to it and ambush in Kha'Zix, moving back the Fey Folk. This game has just gone pretty normally. My opponent has gone Guardian Angel turn 1. I went Fey Folk. Then they went Purple Vex and put Guardian Angel on it, and I developed out a set. This was maybe not the correct move. I believe I had Kiana in my hand at this point, and if I'd gone for Kiana here instead, because what's going to happen is they're going to discipline the Vex here to put it to 7, and then they're going to Charm to bring in my set, and this is really unfortunate because set is a really good tool into breaking these Vex holds. So just losing it for nothing here does not feel great. If I'd gone Kiana, I would have been threatening a punch first if they go for this, as well as costing them another power to deflect in. But it wouldn't have forced out the discipline necessarily. But I think it would have been probably the more correct line. We could have also gone Purple Kha'Zix to force them to develop another unit there, to stop me from getting the alone bonus. I don't know. I think there were probably better lines I could have gone for a set with keeping the charm in mind, but I just wasn't keeping the charm in mind there. So they just hide something, but they have spent quite a bit of power here. Like they spent 3 power across their last 2 turns, equipping the Guardian Angel, using the charm, and then hiding something. I don't really want to go in. I think I might have Punch first in hand, but I don't want to go in here because of that hidden card. I don't want to just get blown up by something like that. So we're just gonna go here. We're just gonna go the Fey Folk into the Star Spring to get ourselves a point. Then I'm gonna develop the Kha'Zix to that Star Spring, moving back the Fey Folk, which means on my next turn, if they develop out more units, we're going to be able to move the Fey Folk back into the Star Spring and drag in something that they've like potentially reinforced that battlefield with over to the Star Spring, where Kha'Zix will now be battling something alone, and get the bonus. So we'll immediately be representing 7 on whatever. They are going to develop the Shadow. The Shadow is a really annoying unit. It comes into play ready if you play it to a battlefield, and it can tap itself and pay 1 energy to stun an attacking unit. Very annoying, but we have good ways of like isolating it and taking it out that way. Also, like doing this thing where I have Fey Folk, like where I'm going to use Fey Folk in a way that makes my opponent the attacker is fairly important, because what that means is, into a deck that has stuns, because what that means, if my opponent stuns one of my units to stop me from killing their unit, I will still be able to, I will still, like, I won't give them a free point from that. I won't be the one getting pushed back. They will. And into Shadow, that's particularly nice, because that means to get it back into a battlefield, they're going to have to tap it. I have a Grim Resolve in hand here, so what I'm considering here is using the Grim Resolve to save my Fey Folk, and keep it around for later. That's why I tapped 2 here, thinking I'm going to go for that. But I opt to not do that. I decide, nah, I'm not going to go for that here. And yeah, I think for a while here and decide I ultimately opt to not use the Grim Resolve, just let my Fae Folk die. It's Silence Work, and I believe I have like at least one Void Assault in this hand, so I'm fine on that. Um, yeah, I think I might have also missed a Kha'Zix use, maybe, maybe I don't quite remember. No, no, I don't think. Yeah, this is the. Yeah, I don't think I've missed one yet. No, I did. I think I. Yeah, I missed one on the previous turn. Yeah, I didn't apply a buff when I could have, right? Um, no, no, this turn was the first time I'm getting. Yeah, this is the first time I'm getting experience. Yeah, so I haven't missed a Kha'Zix. I know I've missed some Kha'Zix procs in this match. And that's one of the things you. That's one of the things I really like about Kha'Zix as a deck. Is like the how using the Kha'Zix legend is like there's a lot of decision points there on how you're going to use it. There's a lot of options in like what you apply the buff to, whether you retreat something or whether you buff something. There's a lot there, and I really enjoy it. So here we're going to do one of the more powerful things we can do, which is we played the Investigator to the Star Spring, move Kha'Zix back. Kha'Zix is still ready. Move Kha'Zix into the battlefield with the Vex. Its ability will trigger again, pumping it to 8 might. They're gonna go for back off, and I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna full send on a on a hard bargain here. Um, and they don't have the Defy for that. I just ripped Defy out with Investigator, so I can be pretty certain that they won't have it. And then force out an Existential Dread, which is another power out of them. So I forced 2 stuns out of them in that interaction. They haven't really taken a point lead. Now, I think I misapplied the buff here. Because the thing with giving this buff to the Investigator is, like, if they have a way to get Vex back out and over to that other battlefield, as they end up having, this Investigator will lose to the Vex anyways, because it has Guardian Angel on it. So I should have applied it to Kha'Zix. That was a waste of the buff. Yeah, they reveal, they play Shadow down to the battlefield so they don't lose control of it. And then the Emperor's Divide over to the other one. I don't think that was quite correct. I think it would have been much better for them to just divide out, take that battlefield, and then establish a Shadow on the other battlefield, just hold up. And this is going to end up backfiring for them because, like, okay, now that Vex is pretty open for me to deal with, and their resources are split up right. They only have 2 up here. Kha'Zix can easily threaten 7 here if I just apply the buff to it by just going in solo. And my buff cards are stronger than their buff cards. So like it's not a good scenario for them. So yeah, we're gonna move. We're not even gonna bother buffing, because like if they have a discipline, we're gonna need to use a buff of our own to win the combat anyways. So we just go in 6 on 5 and go, okay. You only have 2 runes up. Show me what you got. They're gonna Existential Dread me, going down in power again. So they're only gonna have 5 energy available to them on this next turn. And we're just gonna go hard bargain, our second hard bargain. So that clears out the Guardian Angel, gets us a Conquer there, and gets us a bit of experience. But at this point, we have crossed the threshold where we're never going to actually need experience ever again. I believe I miscounted the experience here. I believe I forgot to pay off to mark the 2 reduction from using the Investigator effect the previous turn, but that's fine. So we're gonna apply the buff to the Kha'Zix now. Develop Kiana in base. And really, this is all you have to do in this matchup. Like, you just have to, like, okay, stop them from getting 2 ahead in points, keep parity, and just, like, keep building up big enough bodies in your base that with a buff are able to threaten them. And, like, gradually just force out over and over their interaction until eventually you break through. The hand rips are very, very good at taking out their better pieces of interaction, especially since Investigator can't be hit by Defy. Sabotage is also a very good option. I didn't have Defy Sabotage in this build, but I have put it in builds since. I hope to have some more footage of those builds to show you guys in the future. But they're just going to develop another Guardian Angel put it onto Vex, and they also use Find Your Center, which I don't think was a correct move here. I don't even know why Find Your Center is in the deck. I don't think that card is very good in general. But yeah, here we're just gonna buff up our Kiana. I don't think this was necessary, honestly, because like Kiana is beating the Shadow anyways. If they're going to apply buffs to the Shadow, we're going to need more than just a buff anyways. Because like I don't want this to be a trade. And we have our full resources up, so we're going in 5-on-3. They're gonna switch through, having to play the deflect cost on Kiana. That's another thing really good in this matchup. Is Kiana's deflect is so strong for this matchup. So this is 3-on-5 right now, but Grim Resolve gets us to exactly 6-on-5, still winning this combat for us. And they have nothing more that they can play here, so we get this. And now we are like, from here we basically assure ourselves the lead. Yes, and now we go for the Void Assault on the Vex. I think I should have done this differently. I think I should have done this in such a way where I was holding both battlefields at the end of the turn, because what I end up doing is I move the Kiana back, I bring the Vex in. That clears the Guardian Angel, so the Vex can no longer like safely swing in. It is now in actual danger if it attempts to swing in. And I go, yeah, it's Mr. Root here. Yeah, what I should have done, I think, is I should have like, yeah, so the correct line would have been like play Mr. Root to that battlefield, back out the Kha'Zix, Void Assault it in, plus the Vex. No, I don't even need to do that. I can just back out the Kha'Zix, Void Assault in, and we are they don't have anything up, so they can't do any stun stuff. So like in that position, I just have no risk of doing it that way, making myself the attacker. And yeah, that would have been better, because that would have allowed me to have a 5 might or greater at both my battlefields, making it much harder for them to attempt to come in. But it is what it is. I was in a like good enough position that I didn't really need to risk it. I didn't really need to worry about it. And the Star Spring here is very valuable, because it just means like, okay, if this Kiana isn't able to do it, I can just play any unit to the Star Spring, back out the Kha'Zix, and take another go at it. Because a lot of their ways of stopping you are going to be these stun cards, right? Their buffs aren't for huge numbers. Yeah, and Void Assault is just such a powerful card. Like I really can't stress enough. Yeah. So we're just gonna go 5-on-4, force them to have something for me. They go on guard. That puts them to 6 to my 5. Yeah, we're just gonna go punch first here, pushing ourselves to 10. And it's like, well, you better have 3 more of those buff cards for me, buddy, or you better have a stun. And even if you do, Kha'Zix is still threatening the victory here. So they go Discipline, they're trying to dig for something, and they don't find it. Alright, so now we're going into game 2. Because I won the first game, I'm going to have to go second again. I am on Monastery Furana. This is the one I've been choosing for my going second games. Because like it is the one draw power battlefield that the deck runs, and the deck doesn't have a ton of draw power. It has some good filter, thanks to Stack Deck and Fizz comboing with Stack Deck, but it doesn't have a ton of draw power. So when I'm going second, I've been finding myself preferring Hurana, so that I have that that increased draw to help myself from that disadvantaged position. And they have Immature Recital, which is a bit annoying, a bit scary of a battlefield. When you hold on it, you can move a unit from any battlefield back to base. So this can allow him to pretty easily like pivot the Vex between battlefields if one is being left open, right? So they're going to go Scuttle Crab. I'm going to open with Fae Folk, which means if they try to develop Vex to like the base, it's not going to be safe. I can just go. Oh no! That wouldn't be a good line for me, anyways. Because yeah, the Vex doesn't even need to be. It doesn't even need to be on a battlefield you control yet. So even when it's the attacker, its effect is online, which is annoying. Whatever. Well, whatever. So they're not going to develop the facts here. They're just going to develop a Guardian Angel. That card is just glued. I believe the line here ends up just being, okay, we're just going to... I don't want to, like, conquer on the Verona right now when I don't have a buff. So I'm just going to go into the Amateur Recital, not even bother dragging the Scuttle, and just go, I'm 1-on-0, show me what you got. Because, like, with Vex not in play right now, I can just bring in Purple Kha'Zix at 6 might at any time. And, like, there's basically nothing you can do to win this combat. So they're going to get Existential Dread here, which I don't think was a good move at all. Because, like, you go down a power, and I still win this combat off of public information. So we just go the Kha'Zix here, we win the combat. And that's pretty great for us. We have to reveal our hand, which is 2 Kiana, a Beast Below, Void Assault, and something else I don't quite remember off the top of my head. But it is a pretty solid hand. It's a pretty solid hand. If they didn't go for that, of course, I was just going to develop in the Kiana in base. Would have been very, very nice for me. And here's where I miss a Kha'Zix activation. Remember your Kha'Zix activations. I got my experience, but I completely forgot to go, okay, tap Kha'Zix, give something a buff, right? I just missed one of my buff applications, and I just have one that's buffed for the rest of the game because of that. Which is annoying, especially on the Verona game. But whatever. I hold to 2. I'm in a point lead. This is really the position you want to get into against Vex, because Vex is pretty bad at getting into battlefields. So if you can get into a point lead at any point, even by just 1 point, then you're in a really, really good position to just win the game, right? It can be really hard for you to lose if you can manage that. So here I go for the Kha'Zix. I'm going to put a buff onto my Purple Kha'Zix. And do I just move out here? No. I go Faithfolk into Amateur Recital to force the Vex in, paying a power for that. But the Faithfolk effect doesn't cost a power. So, like, it's much cheaper than Void Assault, which allows us to clear the Guardian Angel. We lose our Faithfolk in the process, but that's something I'm pretty fine with. And then I believe we develop out a Kiana here. Yeah, I take a while to think on this. I think the main thing I'm thinking about here is whether I want to retreat out this Kha'Zix. Because I don't believe I have, like, any buff cards in my hand at this time. And oh no, I think I remember them. No, this isn't the Tide Turner turn. This is not the Tide Turner turn. Yeah, so we just develop Kiana, leave 2 up. We don't really have anything to use that 2 on, as I recall. Yeah. I think my other consideration was I could have Void Assaulted to Dragon the Vex and finish it. Because I believe Void Assault was in that hand. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe Void Assault wasn't in the hand. Because that would have been pretty free. Did they have some amount up? They went up to 6. No, I don't think they had any up. Yeah, they just tap with 5, pass with 5 up, conquer with Vex, hide 1. This is a really free situation for me because, like, as I said, a lot of the way that Vex will push you off is with stuns. Because, like, if they're depending on buffs, our buffs are better. So we can often just overtake them. And in this situation, Kha'Zix can just go in. It's 7-on-4, so they would need multiple buffs to beat us that way. But if they're pushing us back with stuns, that means we preserve the unit and are able to just retake, re-attempt next turn. So, like, over time, we're able to build up this repository of these big enough units that are able to threaten Vex's hold, and eventually it's gonna break down, right? So we're now gonna go for the double conquer here, maintaining our pretty sizable lead, and we're gonna, by spending the buff on Kiana and the effect of Kiana herself, we're gonna get to draw 2. I'm thinking for a bit here on whether I want the draw or the channel of the Kiana effect, but I ultimately decide to go for the draw. Though I think the channel would have been pretty strong here too. But getting more mystery cards into my hand after giving my opponent getting hand knowledge is also like pretty nice. It's also quite nice for me. Yeah, so we're going to develop the second Kiana here. And yes, I think this is where I do the misplay I really great. Yeah, so I go Tie Turner swap with Kha'Zix. And what I really should have done here is I should have just gone hide the Tie Turner at the Harana and leave Kha'Zix up there. Because then what that does is, okay, these are both 4s. The Vex doesn't inherently conquer either of these. However, if they go in for the Kiana and use some buffs to try and get over, I can Tie Turner, swap with Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is at 7, so like they will almost certainly lose that exchange. And if they go into the Kha'Zix and find a way to get over the Kha'Zix, then I can get the Kha'Zix to safety. So it would be like a really secure play that prevents the Vex player from getting back into a battlefield. Way better line. It ends up working out well enough because like I'm up enough on resources. I have enough like mid-sized units at this point that I'm really not scared of what Vex is showing me. I do believe I have a Void Assault in this hand. I'm pretty sure I have a Void Assault in this hand, which makes me even less scared, you know. But like that would have been a much stronger line, and like if you find yourself in that sort of scenario, if you're against a Vex player who maybe has like a more threatening hand or has more resources available to them, like that is some play line that I would like greatly recommend. Like that sort of play line feels like very strong into this matchup. So they're gonna Emperor's Divide the Vex out to save it. We're pretty fine with that. We get to 6. We're threatening the win on the next turn. Yeah, I think we just end up... Yeah, we just use the Kha'Zix effect to back out. We're going to bring the Kiana back out. Because it's like, okay, we're going to set up set, and we win off Double Conquer next turn. But again, I think maybe I should have gone for holds here. I think holds might have been better. But I'm always a bit cautious about exposing my resources like that, you know? It's always a bit spooky to do that. Especially on a deck that's so much stronger offensively. So Vex is going to go in, go to 4. And we're really not... I really don't feel particularly scared here. I have so many cards in hand at this point. I believe I have a hard bargain. I think I have multiple Void Assaults in this endgame. It's just like... Okay, they hide one, they hold up a bunch, and it's like, I have a ton of units that are all threatening this Vex. I don't think I'm in a rough spot at all. And like, it's rough because like, I really think they should put on the Guardian Angel at least, because like, if they put on the Guardian Angel, that means that my Kianas don't just get to go, okay, I can crash with you. But yeah. Yeah, they really should have equipped the Guardian Angel, I think. But even if they develop more units, that just means that they have less runes available to stave off my offense, and I can just like Void Assault them over out of that hold. So I'm still getting these one-on-one battles. That doesn't really change because of the Void Assaults. Of course, they don't. They know I have at least one Void Assault. Yeah, one Void Assault was in my hand when the Scuttle Crab looked at it. Now I'm going to go for my Beast Below here. So this lets me, like, this is a big 8 Might Chunker, and it's like, okay, if I fail to conquer this Vex somehow, then I will still have 12 might over on this battlefield, and I should win by holding on the next turn. Um, but now I just go, okay, spend the set buff, get set to 8, and just push it on that. Not using the buff here so that I can apply a new buff to Kiana in case they have a stun here. And yeah, just that simple. I really like this deck. The sideboard is not final at all. I think the sideboard could use a lot more refinement. In fact, I did not stick with this sideboard at all going into future events. However, Gust is a very, very strong inclusion. I would absolutely ensure that you have Gust somewhere in your main or side. I think side is better because it's worthless into Aurora. But it's super strong into the Lilia Sprite decks. It's super strong into LeBlanc. Azir it's really good into as well. Just being reaction speed is very, very strong. On the Forbidding Waste game, you can Gust stuff that's up to 5 might, which is cool. And Gust is also pretty useful in the early game against Yi, which can be one of the harder matchups for the deck. It's good into Vex as well. I did side in this matchup because it can bounce the shadows. That is pretty good. Like, that's a powerless way for me to just get one of their units, more annoying units, just off the board. So that's pretty great. Yeah. But yeah, there's not really much else to say there. Yeah. I will probably have more Kha'Zix footage in the near future. I'm focusing a bit more on Kha'Zix right now than I am on Lucian, because like this deck feels very, very strong. I want to get more games on it. I want to get more data on it. I want to develop my deck list more. But yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video.